And we are back. It's the Old Gambox Podcast. This is the Big Red Elephant Scouting Report. Alabama against Missouri. Did you see the spread? Alabama now a 16.5-point favorite over the Missouri Tigers. Again, Missouri is ranked 21st in the country. Alabama now 15th in the country. They're falling, but playoff hopes are not out the window just yet. We'll talk about that. Let's talk a little bit about homecoming. It's a special time at the Capstone, and I tell people, friends all over the country, come to Tuscaloosa on homecoming because the parade is phenomenal. The weather is going to be great on Saturday, by the way. But the quad is just, it's full of thousands and thousands of people who are celebrating. Many are coming back to campus for the first time in a long time. Students are there having a blast. The President's Mansion across the street is beautiful in itself, but it'll be full of activity. And the fraternity and sorority houses are incredible. It is they decorate them for homecoming. They're magnificent. The students look great, and now the football team's got to hold up their end of the bargain, and I do think they will. Now, Missouri comes into Tuscaloosa, a banged-up football team. Brady Cook, their quarterback, who hasn't missed a start in a couple of years, likely going to miss this one on Saturday. He is listed as doubtful on the injury report. Right now, they're not even sure he will even dress. His ankle, high ankle sprain, almost broke that ankle. Had to go to the hospital last week for x-rays in the middle of the Auburn game. Came back and led that fourth quarter rally, but he's not going to play. It would be a surprise if he played at all against Alabama. Drew Pyne is the backup, likely going to get his first start. And in limited action there against Auburn last week, 10 of 28 for 78 yards. Just was not sharp. So he's now going to come into Tuscaloosa on homecoming and likely get his first start. Also, Nate Noel, the leading rusher for Missouri, he is also out for this game. So Missouri missing two of their key components of their offense as they come to town for that big road game for them. As for Alabama, Keon Sabb, a talented kid in the secondary, he is out for Saturday. If you were watching the Alabama game against Tennessee, he left, went in the injury tent, and then limped back out on the field and tried to play, but his lower leg injury just is going to keep him out. Won't even dress this week, and his status for the rest of the season is up in the air. And I will say this about the Alabama defense, which is still on the field way too many plays. They lead the Southeastern Conference in that department. They're just having a difficult time getting off the field. You saw that 90-yard drive for Tennessee. Alabama just couldn't stop them, especially on third down. But the Tide is tied for first in FBS with 15 takeaways. They have 8 interceptions and 7 fumbles. That's a positive. That front seven, I think, is pretty good for Alabama. Again, these are all highly recruited kids, 4- and 5-star kids that are playing hard. The secondary's got some nice players, but again, schematically, with that man-on-man coverage, the secondary is getting beat. We saw that in the second half against Tennessee. Time and time again, the secondary got beat, especially late there in the fourth quarter. The go-ahead touchdown, a nice pass in the corner of the end zone. So we'll see if Alabama can change some things schematically against a Missouri coaching staff, which I think is pretty sharp. Eli Drinkowitz is an offensive-minded guy. I think they'll come in and throw some wrinkles at Alabama, even with the backup quarterback. But I think it's time for the defense to change a few things, throw a few curveballs, and we'll see what happens on Saturday. As for the offense, again, I still like the Alabama offensive line. They're big, aggressive, they're road graders, and I think if you put them in position, I think they can carve out long, time-consuming drives. Again, I just think Jalen Milroe is taking too many hits ever since the second half of that Georgia game. And again, they came out, surprised Georgia, empty backfield, called running plays for Jalen Milroe. Second half took shots, and then against Vanderbilt, South Carolina, and Tennessee, they have been ultra aggressive in tackling Jalen Milroe. A big, powerful, athletic kid, a freak in the weight room. But even those kind of kids can get dinged up when they get hit time and time again, especially from the side, because those quarterback runs go wide, and he's getting hit by linebackers and DBs from the side. That takes its toll, and I think that's affected his passing accuracy as well. So we'll see what happens on Saturday. I think Alabama's going to be able to run the ball right down Missouri's throat. If you watch the Texas A&M Missouri game, and I popped it in again yesterday, as I was breaking down the A&M LSU game coming up on Saturday as well. And the Aggies defense is right up there with Georgia, but they completely suffocated and dominated Missouri offensively. They're fast, they're aggressive, they're bullies. They take it to you, and I think Alabama can do that in the trenches. I think offensively they can run it at Missouri, and I think defensively they can get after Missouri, especially with a backup quarterback. So I think Alabama will cover that 16.5-point spread. It doesn't bother me. That's a lot of points. That doesn't bother me. I think Alabama will cover, go to 6-2, and then it'll be time to get ready for the road game at LSU. You take care of Missouri, you take care of LSU, and you're still in that playoff picture. Remember, Alabama still has the win against Georgia in their back pocket, and by the end of the season, I think Georgia will be the number one team in the country, which will enhance that resume for Alabama even more. Have a great homecoming, everybody. It is going to be a blast. I love homecoming at the Capstone, especially with this weather forecast, and with a banged-up Missouri team coming in. I think Alabama will dominate before the homecoming crowd.